Hello, Stormwater designers. Welcome back to Clear Creek Solutions hydrology videos. And today we're going to be talking about bioretention, specifically this Urbanist article, which was written by guest contributor Donna Bresky, who's had a lot of experience doing stormwater modeling in Washington State. And she wrote this guest article specifically about the bioretention usage. And of course, we know there's a bioretention element that's used in the Western Washington hydrology model. There's recently some research that came out showing how effective this element is if designed properly, and how well wwhm 2012 was able to model what this element does in the real world. But anyways, the title of this article is Salmon Killing Chemicals Can Be Treated with Bioretention, but King County says no. And so we're going to get into all the details about this article. So if you don't know what bioretention essentially it's a facility that allows for some storage, but mostly filtration of water. And it's an LID element, which can be used on certain stormwater sites, mostly to filter out toxic chemicals. As mentioned here, salmon killing chemicals, which are very important in Washington State and in Western Washington. So I'm going to take you through the article here. It says bioretention was approved over 6 years ago by the Washington State Department of Ecology for use as a stormwater treatment facility. Yet King County lags behind in accepting it for use. So it says here bioretention is a versatile stormwater management facility. And this article will be linked in the description, so you can go read it for yourself and follow along. And the only known water quality treatment method to address 6-PPD, a pollutant that research has linked to the death of coho salmon. So 6-PPD is an additive to extend the life of car tires, and it's one of the pollutants that is not good for salmon. So the toxic pollutant has been discovered with stormwater runoff entering our streams. So when it rains, this stormwater runoff is entering the streams with this pollutant, causing damage to the salmon population. And then other water quality facilities such as sand filters, grassline bioswales, and detention ponds have not demonstrated an ability to address this 6-PPD pollutant. So your common facilities, such as detention, sand filter, it's not going to be able to handle that. So the bioretention consists of an imported soil mix, plants, and mulch installed to create a shallow depression in which stormwater collects. Its purpose is to capture and filter stormwater runoff, resulting in a decrease in the level of pollutants exiting from the system. So the idea is stormwater runoff is channeled through this bioretention system, which through its custom build of soils does a great job at filtering out a lot of these 6-PPD pollutants. So it does a good job of limiting the amount that ends up getting in the streams, which overall is going to help the environment. So King County Executive Dow Constantine takes pro-environmental stances, is a climate leader. However, on the issue of bioretention, he's let the county fall behind. This is what Donna is arguing here. So she's a civil engineer who's specified bioretention for use throughout numerous jurisdictions in the Puget Sound region, since it's a very green, eco-friendly way to treat the stormwater runoff. And she says she's used it in Snohomish County, the city of Mill Creek, and in Bellevue. So quite a few projects. So she brings up a sample design project that she had here. For a design I prepared in an unincorporated King County, I proposed vehicular access to a new house via circular drive and a bioretention system within, right? Obviously, right next to roadways, that's where these pollutants are going to be the most concentrated. So it's a pretty smart idea to use bioretention to filter out this chemical. I was pleased to provide a design that harmonized the functional use of bioretention to capture and treat the stormwater runoff from the proposed driveway, at the same time providing an aesthetically pleasing landscape feature for the homeowner. So the best of both worlds, right? Engineering is not always just about designing what works in practicality. You also need to, make it work with economic reasons, social impacts of the region. And so she did a good job of that here based on this aerial view of this submittal. So King County chooses to publish its own King County Stormwater Management Manual, the KC-SWM. Also, cities within King County can adopt KC-SWM or use the Washington State Department of Ecology Stormwater Management Manual for Western Washington. The city of Sammamish has adopted the KC-SWM, and the city of Bellevue uses the state manual, for example. The KC-SWM is a design document to ensure that stormwater runoff from new hardscape surfaces is mitigated by installing management facilities. And so she says, though I've provided several stormwater system designs in King County, the design I submitted in early 2019 was the first time I had proposed a bioretention system for water quality control within unincorporated King County. So you can see a couple pictures here of a wet pool in combination with the detention system, and then a sand filter here that does not treat that 6-PPD pollutant. So that she was surprised when my design was rejected and returned with a comment that bioretention is not allowed for use as a water quality treatment facility in unincorporated King County. Of over the 25 municipalities in which I provide design services for clients, King County is the only jurisdiction I'm aware that does not allow the water quality treatment via the use of bioretention. So she questioned the staff about why it's not allowed. And so she said she met with the Department of Permitting and Environmental Review staff in 2019, and she didn't find an answer that really made her convinced, let's just say that. And so several DPER staff members were surprised to see the verbiage included within the King County manual and said they would ask Water and Land Resource Division staff about this. And so if you can't quite see this, some of the red line text is that your property contains stormwater management flow control BOP, best management practice called bioretention, which was installed to mitigate the stormwater quantity and quality impacts of some or all of the impervious or non-native pervious surfaces on your property. Bioretention includes vegetation, closed surfaces, or non-native pervious surface. The soil in the bioretention area has been enhanced to encourage and support vigorous plant growth that serves to filter the water and sustain infiltration capacity. So later in 2019, she spoke with the King County Department of Local Services, and he disclosed that Water and Land Resource Division staff met in 2014 and vetted amongst themselves and determined that King County would not allow bioretention to be used within their jurisdiction. Why? Well, we still don't have a clear answer yet. And so in May 2022, she reintroduced this topic and with World and the service section manager and the division director, and pointed out the new 6PPD research, which showed that the bioretention does a good job of filtering this pollutant, and the Washington State Department of Ecology approved this water quality facility. And so the below excerpt comes from the 2019 DOE Stormwater Management Manual, and includes an explanation of the Washington State law that requires all jurisdictions to use DOE-approved water quality facilities. So we have a bit of a conflict here between what DOE wants and what the county wants. And so the Water Pollution Control Act requires the use of ACART and BMPs approved by Ecology, which includes the bioretention. And so the Stormwater Management Manual for Western Washington provides a detailed set of stormwater practices based on current science, which satisfies state and federal stormwater requirements. And so based on current science with the 6PPD pollutant, bioretention would be a good solution for that. So she said, in August, I met with the World, including Kurt Crawford again, and despite the pertinent and compelling information discussed, staff held a steadfast to the position that they have no intention of reconsidering the use of bioretention facility for use in King County. And then she brought up that the county is legally obligated to accept all known available reasonable technologies, and that the bioretention is obviously very suited to treat this 6PPD tire pollution, and but she was not successful in convincing them. The position of King County to prohibit bioretention use is illogical, ignores the applicable rule of law, and could have devastating effects on the salmon population. Of course, I'm paraphrasing that. Even though King County styles itself as an environmental leader, apparently staff are making their own policies decisions that are inconsistent with those leadership goals. And then King County was contacted for comment, but did not respond to this article. So what's really interesting with this one is not only is the bioretention really good at modeling stormwater impacts, but it's really good at filtering out this pollutant. So it's pretty interesting that King County would not respond to this or give clear reasoning why they wouldn't allow this bioretention element. It doesn't seem like there's anything hurt by allowing what is a Washington State Department of Ecology approved BMP method to be used. So it's definitely interesting. I wish, just personally or professionally, I just wish that King County reach out and just give some form of a satisfactory explanation to why they're not allowing this element. And if there's a good reason, then we can discuss that, but it doesn't seem like there's much of a reason at this point. And the fact that the Department of Ecology has approved of it, which is a state level organization for Western Washington, is definitely a little confusing. And there's plenty of research that shows that the bioretention is incredibly effective. So this is a well-written article. I would like to hear a little more evidence from the other side, just so we can properly judge what decisions be made. Personally, at Clear Creek Solutions, we find the bioretention is a very useful element, both for protecting the environment, but also for stormwater management, and it's very aesthetically pleasing, very easy to use in your design projects. So that's just our take on the situation. But it's a very interesting article. I would suggest you read it yourself and do as much research as possible. But this is just some interesting news with bioretention, especially as more and more research has come out about how affected the facility is. So let us know what you think down in the comments below, what your thoughts on bioretention and BMPs are, and we'll see you guys in the next video.